Hey there, we're Cody and Christina and we are building a box truck into the ultimate DIY earth roamer.
In this week's video, we build out our sliding slatted couch, install our stainless steel shower into the truck, and finish off the last big project of the build, our back wall. To start, now that the electrical installation is done, we are putting our last bed support in. We left this open during the electrical install to bring batteries in and out, and with that last beam in, we brought the 1/2-inch Baltic birch bed face that we previously cut out and painted for installation. And at this point, the weather was getting hot. It was June, and this is actually the last build video we filmed back home before leaving for the summer. The footage was absolutely lacking as we were in a rush to leave, but we are building out a slatted couch design, and I'm sanding everything down and sealing the wood so that it moves smoothly, or bed for a guest. Here the slats are being screwed into the longer pieces. 2 of the long pieces will be stationary, while the other 2 are what slide in and out.
Nice. There's our couch.
So as y'all just saw, we drilled out all of the holes for our, we're going to call it rail support. Instead of building an entire back for the whole couch to sit on, we built this 1.5 inch tall by 3/4 inch plywood rail, but we actually sandwiched 2 3/4 inch pieces together just to keep it as short as possible, and then by having them vertically and screwed together, there's not going to be any flex in it, so it's super strong. And this is just going to bolt right up onto the wall. And this is what the rear support of the couch is going to sit on. And then these 1/4 inch bolts with large fender washers just to disperse the load. We'll bolt this through our bed face, which is attached to the bed frame. And then we'll have a fender washer and a nut on the inside of our garage holding this up. With the rear couch support bolted through the bed face, we brought the slatted couch base in for fitment. We actually wanted the couch lid to hinge open and closed as well. In a build, anywhere you can have storage is crucial. The inside of the couch will be a massive bay for our hydronic heating system later on in the build. And a couple close-ups of the couch now that the hinges are supporting it on the wall. With the slat slid into the out position, the hinges are just standard door hinges that make for a very easy install.
Just quickly, if you're thinking of buying or converting a van and you want to avoid the big mistakes that most people make, I have made a free online course to do just that. Check out the link.
So now that it's installed on the wall officially, it's time to show you guys how it works. So it took our minds a little while to figure out how to do this and how to do it well. Most people just use standard like 1x3s from the hardware store and such. We already had all this Baltic birch and it just looks really nice. So we ripped up all of these 3/4 inch by 3 inch wide strips. The 3 inch wide strip is insanely strong. And then everything that you see on these faces here is 1.5 inch tall 3/4 inch plywood as well. But to get more rigidness so that it doesn't flex when you're sitting on it, we actually sandwiched 2 3/4 inch pieces together and we screwed them and glued them together. And there's literally no flex on this couch while having such small pieces. So this sandwich right here is basically acting as a 2x2, but it's a lot higher quality wood and a lot stronger. So to slide it out is really simple. These longer slats or this front bar, you just pull on it and it comes on out. And it basically takes our couch from 15 or so inches wide all the way out to 23 inches. And now you can kind of see the layout a little better. Starting from the bed wall here, you can see the door hinges. So this slat here and all of these slats that are still against the wall, these are not moving slats. So this is the sandwiched 3/4 inch plywood, and this is sitting on top of the bolted rail. These slats that are not moving are screwed into this rear rail, and then they're also screwed into this slat right here. This rail right here also does not move. So these non-moving slats are screwed into this rail and this rail. Alright, so now that you've seen the stationary slats, these longer slats are actually the ones that move. So they do rest on this rear rail here, and they also have their own rail underneath, and that's what they're screwed into right here. So when it's fully closed, they slide all the way back, and then when you want to pull on it, it comes all the way forward, like so. And once we have this entire thing fully set up, we're going to have a support underneath this midsection here down to the floor, and that's what we'll be storing things in. And then this will also have a face to rest on when it's in its fully slid out mode. Now the really cool thing is We also didn't want this to be dead space. The entire couch actually fully opens as well on these hinges. So we'll basically have a box to store belongings in, just like we did in the van, a nice little storage couch. And this is a really nice clean method, and now you can kind of see the whole layout here.
Here we are fastening in one of the side supports. The other sides will be identical, as well as the front of the couch. All of this is made out of 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood. And once it was all done and put together, we had to test it out with our niece, who is now calling this her bed.
Woo!
It works!
It's a couch!
It's comfortable. I want to sleep on this.
With everything functioning, it was time to disassemble it all and paint what needs to be painted. The couch base, as well as the frame and couch support mode, will be white to tie it nicely with the rest of the build. We are super happy with how the couch came out, and sorry for the mess you see. We sold the van a few weeks back, and we are actually living out of the truck now while we're building it.
What is up, everybody? New day here on the build. Very exciting day, because it is time to install our massive stainless steel shower. A couple of our friends that have some really nice van builds had stainless steel or aluminum showers. They're gorgeous. They're really nice, and we don't have to worry about any bacteria or mold growth. And it's actually all individual pieces. So we have two sides, a back, a roof, and then we bought a stainless steel washing machine pan off of Amazon. It is a flat pan, which means there will be water that sits wherever the low spot is, but it would have been 8 times the price to have a custom beveled in shower pan. So if we have to squeegee some water out of the shower pan, we're okay with that. And we got really lucky. We found a local fabricator that works on the stainless steel and does a lot of welding with stainless steel, because stainless steel is very, very hard to weld. It warps very easily and discolors very easily. 16 gauge stainless steel, I believe it's about 140 pounds in material, and it's 78 inches tall, which is really nice because I'm 72 and a half, 73 inches. I could put my hands above my head, scrub my head. So it's really cool to have the height. And then it's 30 inches wide and 32 inches deep. So it's a pretty big shower. Not something we would ever put in a van, but since we have the truck and it's a lot wider, we knew we were going to do the heated shower in here. Our fittings are going to be over here on the left side of the shower. So you see this pretty cool pattern that's in here. The fabricator made this really cool wood grain pattern in here with an angle grinder and just a soft brush wheel. And I'm not sure how much time it took him to do it, but it came out really good. And then we also have a Nautilus retracting self-squeegeeing door. So it's pretty sweet, and we're going to figure out how we're going to be installing this sucker now. So here we are on the back side of the shower, and what we're actually going to be doing is bumping the shower off of the wall, because we're going to be running plumbing behind the shower, so we need enough space for that 1/2 inch PEX tubing to run. We actually have about 1 inch worth of gap down there on the floor, which is plenty big enough for the outside diameter of 1/2 inch PEX. To do that, we're bumping it out with some 3/4 inch Baltic birch strips. This way we just have a nice flat surface for the shower to sit against. And then the top one, which is going to be actually up here, is where we're going to be bolting the shower into our steel studs with rib nuts. So that's how we're fixing the shower in, is 2 bolts up here. We might also glue the base down to the floor of the box. And also you can see that we finally have our rear door tension adjusted. So our patio is technically set up. Got our best buddy Rose, she loves being up here. We're going to eventually AstroTurf that. Here is the 3/4 inch Baltic birch piece that we're going to be using. We're going to countersink some holes into this right now, screw this up onto our wall, and then this is what the bolts are going to go through to the rib nuts on the wall.
With the wood bump outs installed behind the shower, it was time to figure out exactly where we wanted the bolts to be sent through the shower. Precision measuring at this point, and it was incredibly slow going drilling through the stainless steel. You do not want to heat the stainless steel up when drilling through it, as it will harden and only make your day more difficult. So just go slow.
So about 1.5 hours later, we finally have our 2 1/4 inch holes drilled for our 1/4 inch 20 bolts. It's time to set the 1/4 inch 20 rib nuts in these steel studs that are back here. We did a really good job measuring it. They landed right on the center of the studs as we hoped, and the holes came out perfect. So we're going to insert our rib nuts right now, line the shower up, and pray that it is perfectly lined up. The shower is slid in to place. We could see the rib nuts through the holes. We're going to be using some, I believe these are 2-inch, 1/4-inch 20 bolts with a fender washer just to disperse the pressure because we don't want all the weight just getting pulled right around the hole. So let's see if it fits. That one's good. And this one's great. Awesome. We actually did a good job.
So now that we have the shower mounted up, it is time for us to actually start studding out and framing out this entire back wall. So when this rear door is down our patio, we didn't want this whole space open. We wanted to be able to open the back door, have the patio, and still have the living space blocked off. So we wanted to be able to have that privacy while we have this back door down and still have this airflow so that it's nice inside. So we're going to stud this out with some 2x3s, and then we're actually going to be installing another Turn Overland Wildlands door, same as our entry door, one right here. So we're going to use 2x3s to frame out the sides, frame out the top, and it will be screwed into this 2x2, which is screwed into the base of the box. So right now we're just figuring out where we want the door so that it makes sense for all of our measurements. With our first redwood 2x3 installed into the floor and ceiling, we brought the Turn Overland Wilds door into place to check for fitment and where we wanted it. We actually screwed it into that first stud as the fitment was great, then simply brought the next 2x3 over, slid it right up against the door, and screwed that side in as well. It made for a perfect and easy install. We also added a bracing above the door since the door needs to be fastened in all 4 sides, and another one just above that for more stability to the entire wall. Next, we added 2x3 bracing horizontally on either sides of the door, and this will also be more support for the wall and an attachment point for the 1/2-inch wall we will be installing around the door on the inside of the camper. We had to carefully trace around the door to get the perfect fit and very slowly cut it out with the jigsaw to get an accurate curve. Surprisingly, it came out very tight first go. With it fit, we took it out, painted it, and cut 2 holes in for a switch location and dimmer for our shower light as well. We then carefully fastened screws through the 1/2-inch wall into our 2x3s, making them all evenly spaced and at the same height so it looked even all the way around. And with the inside done, it was time to work on the outside. Since the outside will not be bearing any weight and basically shielding off the inside of the build, we simply used 1/4-inch Baltic birch plywood. This time we needed 2 sheets to shield off this space, and it was very tricky getting 2 pieces of plywood curved around the door accurately and joined together well. The wall is fastened into the 2x3s yet again, with even spacing between all screws, and I also sealed it with a marine varnish to protect it from the elements. You can also see the backside of the dimmer and switch that we installed in the wall. Additionally, we will be adding insulation on both sides of the wall once the plumbing is completed. The left side is the last piece to go in. It's nice because the 1/4-inch wall is extremely easy to remove. You just need to back out a handful of screws if we ever need to work on the plumbing for the shower, etc. There's also a wall outlet on the right side for charging things if we are working outside or cooking on our induction cooktop. This is our back wall, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one.